Hey, how's it going? This is Haledro or Schnitzel or Phoenix again. I'm gonna go ahead and go through running missions today. Um, this is my hauler, and I'm gonna go into that too. Okay. The first thing I'm gonna cover is hopefully you've run your epic arc from Sister Altura, I believe. There's another video in the tutorials if you haven't seen it. So make sure you run your epic mission arc. You don't have to, but I really I can't stress enough the bonus that you get from completing the whole arc can be applied to any faction. And hopefully, if you have done it, you've applied it to the Caldari, or if you're going to do it, you will apply it to the Caldari. Once you've done that, you should be able to head up to Aridia and join us on level 4s. Basically, we try to run level 4s during the weekends, maybe once or twice a week, have a little level 4 op. So we'll give you a frigate or destroyer, cruiser, battle cruiser, whatever you can fly, and you come join us on those ops. And then hopefully in your own free time, you will work towards getting your own mission ship set up. Alright. Fitting. So, when you get to Aridia, first thing you're going to want to do is go to agency after, well, this is actually right after you finish the epic arc, right? And you'll go to level 1 here, location within 10 jumps, security status, high sec, you don't want to be going to low sec or anything like that. And then Caldari state, so you can see I have a very low standing on this character. I do have a high one on the other one. So you should have, I think it's 2 points, don't quote me on that. And you'll see it's going to be on the mission agent here. So you're going to go home, right? So agent mission. Here's the epic arc. Mission agents. Security is the one we're running at level 4, but you're going to hit distribution. And it'll give you this panel, like I just said. So level 1, within 10 jumps, high security. Oh, getting paid. Nice. Always nice to get paid. Okay. Excuse me. And faction here, Caldari State, and then these guys will pop up, right? So you're like, well, hey, I'm here to run security missions. Why am I seeing these distribution agents? Okay. Well, distribution agents are hauler missions. Sadly, so if you're running like missions in Umoka, which is another area I'm going to cover, if you're running missions like way out here in normal space somewhere, you could have like level 1, level 2, level 3 all be security, right? So you can get your frigate, your destroyer, your cruiser, run those missions, blow stuff up, progress through them, get all the way to level 4s, and get your battleship. Well, in Aridia, that's not the case. So that's Umoka. I'm just going to set this nation because I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So that would be the case in Umoka, right? As an example. This is where some of the guys used to run missions a long time ago. So you're running missions here, and you have everything you want. You can run the low levels in security. Well, back over here in Aridia, we don't have that luxury, right? Like, there's a level 4 security mission in Chibi right here. That's where all of our battleships are. We run this, agent, and a lot of ISK, a lot of fun. But in order to get there, there are no security missions in the pocket. So you have to make a choice. Do I run a mining mission, which there's like one agent, kind of boring? Or do I do distribution, which is also kind of boring, but it gets you there fast? So I'm going to get into that. So as we've discussed in previous videos, you run your epic arc, and then after that you come to Aridia, and you kind of start working on your hauler, right? Because if you're mining or if you are running missions, you're going to accumulate loot or ore. You're going to have to sell that stuff, right? Like, take it somewhere and sell it. So we recommend you get a hauler, and then you find a wormhole or whatever. You try to sell it to us, obviously, but we're not going to buy everything. Sometimes you're going to find unique stuff and just not going to find a buyer up here. So you start trading for a hauler, right? You get your hauler going. And as you're doing that, you're hopefully leveling your skills. So I'm going to go into this. So this is a Tech 2 hauler, so in a way disregard that a little bit. But I am going to go into the ship tree here. So as a hauler, you're still going to need shield skills. You're still going to need to up your other skills, right? Your navigation skills are very important. They make your ship faster. Your battleship that you're going to use for level 4s also needs to be fast. 'Cause if it's too slow, man, it's like going to take you forever to approach the gate. Like you're already the slowest ship on Earth, or in space, sorry. So you might as well be working on that, right? So you get up to Aridia and you like talk to us and like, hey man, I need like a cruiser or whatever to run level 4s with you guys on the weekends, because when we run these level 4s we can give you bonuses so you can get to higher level missions quicker, but not as quick as you doing it on your own. So what we're going to do is also give you a hauler, right? So you have a choice between one of these haulers depending on your race. You know, like every race has a different set of haulers that are Tech 1. You'll choose one and hopefully get your skills up for them to improve them, and then also get you up here in the tree towards your Tech 2. So, you know, like if you're Caldari, here's your hauler there. If you're a Mar, here's your haulers, right? You've got these two. And there's two choices always. There's the heavier one, which is slower, and and carry like 10 times more. And then there's the faster one, which you're going to want. So probably we'll give you this one, and you can use that in high sec for running the high sec missions, and this one for more low sec, right? Okay, so keep in mind this Galente, you have more options. You know, don't get too lost in all the options, but you get your Tech 1 hauler. All right, so it's gonna look like this kind of. This is the Tech 2. Whoops, man, a lot of stuff. It's like pop-ups, man. Remember the 90s? Or sorry, the 2000s, when you get on the internet, it's just pop-ups. Probably still is, but not as bad. You have this hauler. Yeah, there's fittings. Okay. So, man, there's a lot of stuff to show you guys. It's like, mind-boggling. Okay. So, as I was saying, you're going to have your missions. So, you have your level 1 mission, right? And, I'm sorry, but the Galente are just a bad race to illustrate. So I'm going to use the Caldari and the Mar, guys, because they have the least amount of ships. Okay. So every race has their main 2 haulers. You have your fast hauler and your slow hauler, like I just told you. So we'll give you a fast hauler. And I'll show you the Mar. It's going to have a bonus to velocity, right? So you can use that for most of the missions. A lot of cargo room. And then you'll have this one for the low security missions. So what's going to happen is you're going to come in here, you have your hauler, and you find your mission. You'll run level 1s through CBD, okay? CBD is a corporation that we all run the level 4s for. So they are part of the Caldari state. So if you have a bonus to Caldari state, you might be able to skip level 1s and go right to level 2s, all right? Excuse me. And then you just kind of run these missions, and I'm going to give you an example here. You're running a security mission, you warp in, you have to kill the rats. That's going to take some time. You might not have that good of skills, so it might take even more time. You're then going to go turn the mission in, and then do the next one. And each time you turn the mission in, obviously, you're going to get a little bit of a security standing increase. You're going to get your standing increase towards the agent, ISK, and some loyalty points. Now, security missions are more fun. And you're going to make a lot more ISK because you blow up the rats and they have bounties, right? But they're going to take forever. Like, they take time. And it makes more sense at level 4s because you're not trying to level up anymore, right? So it's kind of a pain, but it's because they're boring. But these distribution missions for the CBD, they give... Basically, you go to Agent 1 and he gives you cargo. You take it one jump over and turn it in and talk to the agent in that same station, and boom, mission done right away. You go, and so you can blast through 16 missions twice as fast or 3 times as fast as you can after security missions. Yeah, they're more boring, but you can just blast through. So it allows you to go through level 1s, level 2s, level 3s within like a couple days versus a week or 2 or longer running security missions. Okay? So You're going to run 16 missions or more, and every 16 missions, you're going to get a email, and it's going to say, hey, I got a special mission for you, or a little pop-up here. And let me show you on the map. Oh, and before I do that, let me go into this. So, as you're running level 1s and 2s, you are going to have cargo room, right? But, so I got 9,000 on this ship. Obviously, you'll probably have less, like 3,004, or 3 to 4,000. What I recommend is you go to agent, get the mission, and for the most part, after running a couple, you'll figure out like how much average room you need. So like you can take these cargo expanders off one by one, and maybe only run one cargo expander, and then focus more on speed modules to make your ship faster, like have it align faster or warp faster. Okay, that way you can just pump the missions out faster. As the missions get more difficult, level 2s and level 3s, they're going to require more cargo room. So that's going to mean that you're going to have to get your hauler skill up, right? So because both haulers have a bonus towards how much you can haul based on your skill towards the hauler, and they also have a speed bonus or an align bonus, which lets them warp faster. Okay, so you're going to have to kind of throttle the cargo space up and down depending on what level missions you're running and how difficult that mission is. Okay, so keep that in mind. So you're going to be blasting through these missions. And let me show you on the map. So you're running through them, right? You're in Aridia. So you're blasting through these missions. You're going from Mishi to Avada, back and forth, turning in the distribution missions, right? And whatever order they are. Every 16 missions, the agent's going to send you that email. It's going to be like, hey, man, I got a special mission for you. And it's going to be a faction mission, actually. It's not going to be just a normal mission. So what does that mean? Well, a normal mission a CBD mission will give you a standing bonus towards CBD, right? A faction bonus is towards the whole state, so either the Amar state or the Caldari, or the Amar Empire, or like the Caldari state or whatever. So, excuse me, getting over a little cold here. You are in a situation where you can apply that, or you can do that Caldari mission just like you have applied your bonus from the Epic Arc, okay? So you can come in here and you can just, every 16 missions, get that special mission, and if you complete it, you get a lot more ISK than you would for a normal mission. You get a lot more LP. But the problem is, the agent's like, hey man, I got a crazy mission here for you. You got to go from Jaime to low security, or worse, you got to go all the way to Kahinahab. You got to make 2 jumps through low sec, man. And as we've discussed in previous videos, what's in low sec are friendly Russian pirates. They're going to be hunting you, so that's a risk. So always make sure that you get both haulers from us, so you can run both missions, right? You can run like your missions in the pocket with one hauler, probably the heavier hauler, and not worry about it. Maybe even autopilot. I don't recommend that, but you could. And then every 16 missions, you get that second hauler that's like set up for speed, man, and it's maybe got a prototype cloaking device in case you get caught in between systems. So you there's some dude trying to kill you, and you got his cloak, and like, I might cover that in some other videos. But yeah, so have 2 hours set up, and then just be prepared. Every 16 missions is going to be that really hard mission. But if you can do like 2-3 of those faction missions, man, you're gonna have such high faction standing. You're gonna be right at level 4s. All right. I think that covers the hauler. And like I said in other videos, you're gonna need your hauler anyways, man. You're gonna need to take your loot to Jita. I'm gonna fly over to the mission system here. You're gonna have to bring new fittings in from Jita, whatever. So working on your hauler skills will be good for eventually getting your missions set up, and eventually getting your hauler set up. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and warp over to Chibi.
Warp drive active.
Alright, well, if you're wondering, I just turned the audio down on the game, so there's no audio right now as we're warping through the game.
Active.
Okay, so there's a variety of ways of running missions. Obviously, once you get to levels, and the lower levels, you can do it in destroyers and cruisers, like I told you guys for some of the combat missions. But once you get to level 4s, you're gonna need a battleship. Come on, takes a while to dock up. Okay, I'll just go through this while we're docking up. So, you're going to get a battleship probably. So, I'm going to go to the ship tree. Bye-bye.
Permission requested. Docking request
Oops.
accepted.
So, hopefully, by training your hauler, you've improved your shield skills. You've improved your other skills, like your navigation skills. And in the meantime, once you got your hauler, you probably start training your weapon skills up. And you're going to get to a point, depending on your race. I'm going to go over Mar mainly. But I mean, it's pretty simple. Just go through the tabs here. Caldari. Valente. Okay. I'm going to start DMR. You're going to get to a point where you're going to be able to run a battleship. So at least get to level 4, please, before you even jump into it. Because it's so darn expensive that, as you can see, the Amar battleship bonus for the damage and the resistance to the armor on most of these, that's like crucial at the beginning. It's like the main skills on it. By the way, don't get the Armageddon. That's mainly PvP setup. The drone damage is there, but yeah, I'd recommend these other two. Depending on your race, right? So you've gotten to the point where you're gonna get your battleship, and you're gonna hopefully eventually get your battleship. And then as your ISK grows, as your skills grow, as you're like, man, this is fun. I like it. I want to get more blingy. You might decide to get a faction battleship, which you'll have the option of getting these faction battleships, which are just like these ones, except they have an extra module slot and a little bit of an extra bonus to damage. Or, do they have it? It's been a while. Yeah. They basically have an extra bonus. So that's kind of cool, So you have kind of like that option to really not only specialize in the ship and then your skin maybe, but then kind of work your way towards like a faction version of it. And then in my case, like I'm going to show you right now, eventually get to a Tech 2. Like I have. Or instead of a Tech 2, a lot of people, they get really blingy and they decide, or not, I mean, it depends. Some people argue that it's better either or. They're going to choose a faction battleship. So you can click on the factions here. Oh, sorry, the pirate factions. And they all have a different battleship as well. But these are also very expensive, so keep that in mind. And it's a big investment, guys. Like a battleship is like, it's pretty far into the game. You're getting it pretty quickly. To working your way. Oops, where's it at? You're working your way up the tree here to it pretty fast. But it's not for PvP, right? It's just gonna be like your trophy ship, like in your travel. Excuse me, in your travels at Eve, you're gonna make ISK in all sorts of ways. Maybe running combat sites in low sec, or hunting real players down, or there's all sorts, extorting somebody, or I don't know, whatever. But there might be a day when you don't have that much time, or you just want to relax, and you're going to want to always come back to your high sec spot and grab your ship. And what you can do is you can kind of invest more into it and make it shiny and blingy because it's in high sec and it's more safe. So you're probably going to get to the point where I'm at. You're going to have the Holy Shock. That's what I call it. It's the what is it? It's a Paladin. Yeah. So I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to warp into level 4 for like just a minute or two and shoot a couple shots with no audio, just so I can keep talking because it was really loud on my computer. Yeah. But yeah, so you'll eventually get to the point where you're going to have a battleship like this. Now, what I want you to consider, when we run the level 4s, for instance, it's going to be easier because we're going to be on grid with you. So we're going to make it easier by us getting the aggro, hopefully, and having them shoot at us. And you're probably going to be there in a smaller ship that's more agile. This is also, small ships can run these missions too, by the way. It's a different concept. It's more based on agility than it is DPS. but these excuse me again. But these battleships, you're such a slow target. It's a different game, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So you're gonna have to, once you have your battleship, you're gonna have to focus on your damage type, right? Like, you're gonna warp in there, and unlike me, you're not gonna have a Tech 2 battleship with high skills, and I bring 2 ships on grid, or like I said, when we're running them as a group, like, you're gonna be on your own, right? You're gonna be in there by yourself. You're probably just gonna, you might just have one battleship. I don't know what your setup's gonna be. So number one, keep that in mind when you're watching me blow some stuff up here at the end. And also just keep in mind that I go in as, like, I warp in right on top of the target, while you're going to be basically warping the other way. And, well, I'll show you that with the jump drive, actually, not warping. So, yeah, so let me just show you one more thing before I dock. So, like I was just saying, it's, where's it at? You know, I'll just show you for the ship tree again. Fittings will work too. So, each ship and the computer as well has a damage hole, right? So, like, if you were to come at me, you can see my shields. EM will just burn through them, man. Like, I have no resistance at all. You would just, like, nuke it. While the armor is pretty much in the same range. Now, for the computer, that's not the case, right? Like, if you're fighting, like, in this mission here, this is a level 4 we just started. View mission. He's basically having me shoot Sancho rats, okay? So, in different areas of EVE, depending on who you're running missions for, they're going to give you different rats to shoot, or computer NPCs to shoot, right? And these guys are going to have different damage holes. So, like, depending on what damage you do, it's going to be easier or harder to kill them. So, keep this in mind when you're training for ships, because, yes, I'm a Caldari player. Yes, we're running missions for the Caldari, but you are in a Mars space. And that means a lot of these missions are actually based more on the Mar negative rats. That means rats or pirate computer-based rats that are against the Amar state, and also the Caldari state, but mainly because you're in a Mars space against the Amar state. What does that mean? That means their main damage hole will be EM and thermal. So that means if you are, for instance, training for Mimitar guys, which is kind of one of the harder races to train for, and it's been a while. I don't know. I'm going to have to see. I don't think it's changed. EVE is changing all the time. But you would have to basically switch your large projectile ammo, and it would only be in certain damage types. Thermal, kinetic. So thermal would be okay. You do pretty well up here. But it's not the main damage hole, right? Not hole. Galente is kind of like lucky because you can launch different set of drones, but this is important again because you need to keep this in mind. So if you're going to be Galente and you're running missions up here in Aridia, most of your missions are Amar negative, so that means you're going to want to do thermal EM. So that means you're going to want to train for what? Amar drones and Mimitar drones, because they put out those damage types. Okay, so that's going to be your drone damage on these boats. But keep in mind, your hybrid turret damage is usually kinetic thermal, so it's not going to do quite as well against the rats up here, because their main damage hole for the most part is going to be EM thermal. Now, some, don't get me wrong, some you're going to get 1 or 2 missions where that's not, where you're going to be shooting like Galente rats, for instance, and you're going to be needing kinetic for sure. So you're going to do really well on those missions with your, you know, Galente based battleship. As Caldari, you can pretty much, if you're using the rock turrets, same kind of issue, right? You're going to mainly do kinetic damage, maybe a little bit of thermal. So you're going to have a hard time on some of these missions, guys. Also, because you're shield based, when the enemy, what did they put out mainly? They put out also EM thermal. So that means your shields are going to be taking the hit, man. Like, even if you have the right hardeners, like, it's EM and thermal are, like, they're really good against shields. The nice thing is, as Caldari, if you're running them with your missile boat, you will be able to switch missile types. So you'll be able to put in kinetic missiles, thermal missiles, EM missiles, nuclear missiles, which are explosive damage, and that will make it easy for you to easily switch the damage types on the missions you are running. So it's just kind of keep all these things in mind based on your race. As a MAR, like I've told you, they're all laser boats, so they will mainly do EM, and then thermal based damage. So they're gonna have the easiest time running missions up here. So we predominantly run missions in two areas, one being 0-0 and one being up here. I will cover 0-0 in another video, but up here, just keep in mind, well, for both areas, guys, like in one area, you're going to be doing kinetic damage and thermal damage, while here, you're going to be doing thermal EM and Aridia. And again, so that means if you have a Minotaur battleship, to recap, you're going to have a harder time running missions probably. They're going to burn through your shields pretty easily. Your damage will be okay. Galente is going to be half and half. If you're more drone focused, you're going to do pretty well damage wise. And your armor is going to be just fine. Like armor based EM is not going to do much to you, so you don't have to worry. So if you're running a Dominix, a drone boat, you're fine. If you're running a gunboat, not going to be doing too well. As Caldari, you're going to be doing all right, but the shields are going to be taking a hit pretty heavily. You can offset that again by being able to put out any damage type, so that's cool. So good for the Caldari. And then again with the MR, you're pretty much going to have an easy time because your armor can take that EM thermal hit pretty well, and your lasers are going to put that EM thermal damage out that you need. Okay? So I hope that kind of wraps that up. I'm going to go ahead and undock here. And again, sorry I don't have sound on, but I decided I'm trying some different stuff out in these tutorials. I noticed that it was kind of loud in the last one. Okay. Beautiful battleship. So yeah, so you're going to talk to the agent, and I already did that. And he's basically to tell you like, hey man, here's, warp to blah, blah, blah spot. I'm going to go ahead and warp the fleet and blow stuff up and then come talk to me. So you're going to have two choices here. You're going to be able to eventually get up to a Paladin like I have, a Tech 2 ship like this. And it has a bonus to where you can see on mine I have these auto-targeting systems. You normally don't put these on there necessarily, because it has a bonus to tractor beam range. So you can easily pull in and tractor beam, like you run your 4 weapons on this thing, and then you can later on have a tractor beam and a salvager to like clean up the mission, right? Deal with all the wrecks. Now that's kind of how you can do it if you're kind of solo running this stuff. Like you come in, kill stuff, and then sit there and also loot it with the same ship. The Tech 2 battleship has a lot more cargo room than the Tech 1 battleship. Now what I do and a lot of other people do is we just go and do the mission in one ship. That's why I've opted to just get auto targetings instead. And then we come in an alt, or we use the same character. Like for instance, I have an alt here. So like I'm just going to show you real quick. As you're training for the hauler, guys, you're going to get the same skills, and you can either get an alt to do this or your main. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me ship tree. Or. And just go for the ore hauler. The Noctis. Noctis being a salvaging ship. And this is what I do, guys. Like I come in with this thing, and you just warp in. You have tractor beam, boom, boom, boom. They lock onto all these wrecks. You pull them towards you, and it's literally once you get it to max skills, you can pull them in so fast, and then you have 4 salvagers on here at the same time, and they salvage all the wrecks. And you literally turn off your and I'll probably make a video about that showing how to salvage. But that's your option. You come in with your battleship, you kill the mission. You got to be quick though, because the wrecks will disappear after an hour, I think, unless that's changed. So be careful. And then just warp in. You warp back to station. Make sure you bookmark the mission or have it still set. Don't turn it in yet. and then grab your hauler, your Noctis salvaging ship. Is not really a hauler because it's a separate skill. It's the ore hauler skill, and then warp back and salvage it. So I hope that makes sense.
Drive active.
All right, let me. So I'm basically just gonna warp in here real quick, guys. I'm just gonna show you the second room. I'm just gonna blow up some stuff, and then that's it. Concludes the video. Basically, if you have questions, come find one of us in game, or the best time to ask is when we have our mission ops. If you need a ship, let us know. If you lose your ship, let us know. And also, please, with your mission ship, if you are not that your hauler, not so much. Your low-sec hauler, definitely insure it. Buy insurance. Where's insurance? I can't even pull it up outside the station, can I? You're gonna have to do that in station. I forgot to. Anyways, and then your battleship, always insure it also. That way you get like 80% of the money back, and then we can back up the rest of the cash and just get you a new ship. All right? That's if you get blown up. Oh baby, I got approach. Well, that's gonna be a minute. All right. Well, I can just go over some concepts here. So, one second. Let me get the other ship here. Approach. So you're probably just gonna have a Tech 1 battleship eventually, and you'll see how it all works too when you come run missions with us, obviously. But you'll have a Tech 1 battleship, and the idea is gonna be to get a micro jump drive, large micro jump drive. So look that up. Get the skill for it. Here's the skills. And basically you'll have long range weapons, so like cruise missiles or long range lasers, long range railguns, long range artillery. And you're gonna warp in, and as soon as you warp in, turn your battleship around away from the center of the mission. Like you can see all these wrecks and stuff I blew up, so like you would be on this side. And then and I'll show you this in the next thing. Then you would activate your large jump drive, and you would jump away 100 kilometers out. And then use your long-range weapons to wait for as the ships come in, and they'll come in at like 80 or so. And you'll have like depending on what kind of ammo you have fitted, you'd hopefully have like a range of 70 clicks. And you just start taking them out and shooting them at 70 kilometers away. Boom, boom, taking them out one by one. And then as they got closer and closer, this jump drive would basically spool all the way down, and then you'd be able to use it again. And you jump away again, and you kill a bunch of them. And you would just keep doing this until they're all dead. Now, I am doing the opposite, which I do not recommend. I'm going to come in here, and I basically have one character shoot the targets. They start approaching them. I have close range weapons, so the closer they get, the more damage I do, and obviously I can take a lot of damage because I have a lot of high skills. You will not have a lot of high skills, so you're going to want to make sure you're staying far away from them and using your jump drive. And I have the second character then use his jump drive to jump right in the center of all of them as they're focused on this guy, and he just starts blasting away with close range weapons because there's no threat to him, and all the aggro is focused on the main character. So, like I said, two different concepts of running these level 4s. And guys, don't get discouraged at the beginning. Like, there's a good chance one day, like, Worlds Collide is the last level 4 mission you run. Like, not last, but it's like the every 8 to 16 missions they'll give it to you, and it's the one that pays a lot, but it has a lot of rough rats, and there's a chance of getting killed pretty easily. So just keep in mind, like, if you're going to be doing this and starting new, with not that much skill, barely getting your battleship, it's going to come a day you're going to get blown up. Just don't get discouraged, and just keep upping your skills, upping your modules to Tech 2, getting a better ship, and you'll get there. All right, I'm gonna blow some stuff up here, and then I'm just gonna go over the bling effect, and that'll be it. So I'm gonna show you here. I'm basically gonna just approach these because actually I'm gonna approach this guy. So let me turn that back off. So Verexen is deployed. He's basically and in the Tech 1 battleship, guys, you're basically gonna fly it actually like a ship. You're gonna fly up to to them. You're gonna shoot stuff at them at a certain range and all that, and you know, keep your ship moving. Once you get the Marauder, it's actually a platform that uses this bastion to deploy like a gun. It deploys in space, anchors itself kind of weirdly, and then it just is able to put out way more damage, take way more damage, and run its armor or shield repair like way better. Alright? And that's what's going on here. He's basically just a brick. So they're all focused on him. There's a battleship way over here. I don't know, they're kind of off on the side. So this is the micro jump drive in action. You would basically just click it, builds up, and you're then going to use a lot of capacitor, and boom, you're going to teleport. Now, if you have your skill to max, you're not going to use much cap, and the cooldown won't be all that crazy, okay? You can see you're pretty much 90 clicks away from most of the stuff, so you could, this is kind of how you would do it. You would engage all these at range. I'm actually doing this to get closer to this specific battleship on the backside. Alright. Oops, wrong rats. So the last thing I want to go into is, as you can see, I've been running this mission in Chibi today. There's only us here. Nobody else here. We used to run missions, and I'll go into this real quick while we're running. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this, but running missions all the way out here in normal space. We used to do that. And you'd be running a mission like this and blowing up rats. And you can see, like, I'm taking a hit here. You know, no big deal. I'm going to deploy here. Watch how the damage just gets way more. Boom. Look at that. That's what a Bastion module. Auto-targeting here. Okay. So, you're running a mission like this, right? And you're taking shield damage. Well, there's nobody here. You're going to be pretty safe up here. If you're running, and, you know, it's high security space, too. They're like, man, you know, Concord will save me if something happens. Not save me, but they'll avenge me. They never save you. Don't ever say that, by the way. Don't ever say they'll save me. They'll avenge me. You can see my shields are just getting just gnarly damage here. That's okay. If you're running this mission like a normal space, you could be running it like this, and all of a sudden, some guy could come in system and start scanning your mission down. Like, put out probes, and yeah, you can run your D-scan, but you shouldn't have to, man. This is high-sec. Like, I should be able to relax. That's kind of the point. Like, you're going to have plenty of stuff to worry about when you're in low security space and zero and wormholes and, you know, stuff that we'll go into later. You should be able to, like, just worry about taking the computer on and just growing your skills and, like, hey, man, like, I got blown up yesterday in low sec, lost my ship. I just want to sit here today in my mission battleship and relax. Well, if you're running missions somewhere else, some guy might come in and you're not scanning for it, and he's going to put out probes, and he would then figure out, hey, you're in this mission. And then he'd get 10 of his buddies to warp in with destroyers and try to suicide gank you. And this used to happen to us a lot more in, well, I mean, it used to happen to us all the time in the populated mission areas around Jita. Like, you have the main market hubs of Eve, and like 10 jumps away, for convenience, everyone's running missions close so they can bottle up their loot that day and, oops, and, you know, take it to Jita in like 5 minutes and sell it right away, right? Because we all have to have instant gratification. Well, the people that like to grief are also in that area. So we had a lot of guys that would have all sorts of different stuff happen to them. Guys warp in, try to kill them. Guys warp in, start stealing their wrecks and the loot that they've worked for. Another thing, this battleship has a bonus towards how much armor repair I get per cycle. So, like, they're not even through my shields yet, guys. But once they do, I'm going to turn this armor repair on, okay? And it's going to take a certain amount of capacitor to run, and that's not a problem. You know, I'll be able to run that easy. But on this ship, I have a bonus to... what is the bonus? Man, it's been a while. Give me a second. Make sure it's still the same bonus. Armor 7.5% 10% bonus to the armor repair. What amount? Okay. So that means if I have a armor repair doing 1,000 armor rep, right? Because you can see here my armor is 12,000. Okay, so you have 12,000 armor and you have an armor rep doing 1,000. Well, that's great. You have a Tech 2 armor rep that's probably going to do like 1,800. That's even better. So every time it cycles, every time it goes around, it's going to give you way more armor boost, right? Well, as you run a ton of missions, you're going to get loyalty points, which you can use to get a faction battleship. Sorry, I had a bunch of red stuff show up on the other monitor. Scary. And you can use that loyalty points to get implants that'll make you train faster. Well, you can also use loyalty points to get special modules that are not Tech 2. Like, see how I have all these Tech 2? That means they're better. They also use more power grid and stuff to fit, but they're way better than the Tech 1 version. Well, there's faction modules that have special bonuses. So some will give you the same boost that a Tech 2 module would, but they're going to use less power grid. They're going to use less CPU to fit. So that allows you to play around, use other stuff. They might, in the weapon case, do way more damage than like the faction ammo does way more damage than normal ammo, right? Well, with this armor rep, as you can see, I get way more repair. So I get actually like 2,100 or like 2,050, I think, is the bonus on this armor rep because it's faction. And because of that, I get a huge, that 7.5 bonus, 7.5% bonus gets it almost up to 3K, right? So like, I turn this thing on like twice, man, 3 times, and my armor is, boop, 100%. Well, when your ship's already super expensive, it's actually worth to invest a couple hundred extra million, or in your case, maybe your loyalty points. Oh, last ship is dead. See, easy, guys. It's probably not going to be that easy for you guys. Turn this off. Okay. Yeah. So you're probably, you're going to invest in this module, right? And you're going to probably have this battleship, and you're going to be like proud of yourself. It's all shiny. Well, the more faction modules you add to your ship, and the more expensive you make your ship, the more cost effective it is for a griefer to now come blow you up, right? So like, if your ship has doubled in value now, and I come in and kill you, and then Concord comes in and kills me, well, as long as I can come in with an alt and one of your modules drop, and maybe that one module is your faction module, and I make 300 million, and a destroyer fleet, guys, is like 20-30 million, and you're flying a 500 million to $1 billion battleship. You're putting basically what I'm saying is you're putting a big target on your back. So it makes sense if you're going to be flying these blingy ships, you fly them kind of out in areas where nobody else is. Like, people don't come up to Aridia to grief, because they can only grief somebody once or twice, and that person learns, right? And then the griefers got to move on to somebody else. But it's convenient for them if they can do that all in the same area, and there's a lot of people for them to prey on. All the way out here in Aridia, that's not the case. So this is one of the multiple reasons why this is our fallback point, right? Like I discussed in other videos, if there's a war, like other players want to kill us, it's hard for them to get up here. If there's a griefer that wants to come get you, it's hard for them to come up here and go after you. In my, gosh, guys, I've played E for 15 years, and the first couple years, we would lose one or two guys. Well, a couple of our guys would lose a ship here or there probably every other week trying to run missions in an area that was not Aridia. Since we've moved up to Aridia, I've never lost a ship. I think we lost maybe one, but that was because a guy in the corporation decided to go postal and start shooting. That was when the settings were different. You can't shoot each other anymore in the corp, in high sec. But anyways, so it's never happened really. So just keep that in mind, as you're running these missions, or as you're asking yourself, why are we running missions all the way up here? Because I do understand that if you run enough missions, you're gonna get a lot of loot, and you're gonna have to use your cloak hauler to move it all the way to Jita, and that's a pain sometimes, because we're not gonna be able to buy all your loot, and you might be tempted to say, screw it, I'm just gonna get a battleship set up in high sec, and I'm gonna run missions closer to Jita so I can sell my my loot that day. And that might be the case, but you increase the chance of a griefer finding you, and you decrease the chance that you're gonna really want to set up a really shiny battleship for running missions. All right, guys. I hope that's not too much. I know this has been a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just let me know in the mission op, in the comments, whatever. And yeah, as and also if you need a ship. All right, guys. I hope you have a good day and be safe out there.